Hello everyone, Doug King here, doing my Week 3 current event videos for Chapter 3. I chose to do my video on the events that took place on October 1st, 2017 in Las Vegas, Nevada at the Route 91 Music Festival. Stephen Paddock rented a room on the 32nd floor of the Mandalay Bay Hotel, which was located across the street from where the Route 91 Music Festival was taking place. And from his 32nd floor hotel room, he opened fire on the crowd. This was the deadliest mass shooting in U.S. history. He wounded 581 people and killed 58 of those people. Couple issues that came up in the articles and the literature that I was reading, specifically the one in the current events folder, talked about how difficult it was for the FBI to investigate this case due to the fact that Paddock had used some anonymous accounts to amass most of his weapons and ammunition slowly over time. So he didn't make any kind of bulk orders. Over the last year, he kind of used Amazon and some other accounts to buy ammunition as well as weapons and slowly amassed that stuff over a year using anonymous accounts. He also had several cell phones, so he had what we would call a burner phone, which is untraceable. They located 3 cell phones in his hotel room with him, and he also had a laptop in his hotel room that had the hard drive removed from it. So he actually destroyed quite a bit of his digital footprint, so it was very hard for the law enforcement to come up with any kind of information about this case, and I believe to this day they still have not come up with a motive for this case. So a couple things about this case. I already said he fired off more than 1,000 rounds from his room, injuring 581 people. Couple issues that came up during this, some legal issues that I thought were kind of interesting, is some Second Amendment rights and what exactly that entails as far as what weapons you can have. He used a device called a bump stock during his assault, which is a device that basically uses the backfire of the gun to press the gun forward again, pulling the trigger and simulating a fully automatic weapon. So after this, there was a large cry for bump stocks to be made illegal, and even the NRA got on board with that. So still waiting to see what happens with that. Of course, there were some Second Amendment people that are against any type of restrictions on weapons at all. So that's one legal battle that's going to come out of this. As far as how this applies to my department, these incidents could happen anywhere. Mass shooting incidents happen everywhere from the big cities to the small suburbs, and they seem to be occurring more and more frequently. So it seems like it's only going to be a matter of time before one of these mass shootings happens in one of our jurisdictions, and there's really no way to tell when or where they're going to happen. It could happen to any department anytime. So the key is to be prepared, to have a plan, to work with your police departments. Our department does have a policy and procedure put in place with the Akron Police Department. It's something that we've trained on. We could probably do some more training on it, but it is something that has been put in place. One thing that, from what I was reading, and I actually talked to one of the medics that worked out in Las Vegas, and some of the hospitals were so overwhelmed, so they were actually transferring patients from one hospital to another pretty early on. There was what we might call like a stat care that was close to the scene, where many of the patients went by themselves, not by ambulance, and the stat care was completely overwhelmed. Many of the patients had to be transferred from the stat care to trauma centers. So it's hard to prepare for something like this, but we should be aware that it could happen anywhere, anytime. We should have a plan for what we're going to do if this happens in our communities. Look forward to hearing what you guys think about this case. Please let me know your thoughts. Thanks.